How is everyone today? I am having a fantastic time here in my office. It's got so many wonderful things going on. I'm so glad to have an opportunity to share with you all today and be around. I decided to change up a little bit and add a little jazzy music in the background. Hopefully, as we begin to start the show, you guys love and appreciate that ambiance as we get this thing started. This is Coffee, Tea, You and Me. Every Friday for almost 20 years, I've been getting together with entrepreneurs, business leaders, sales representatives, people from all over, talking to them about the things they need to do to upgrade, uplift, and change their small businesses and move them in the directions that they want to go. This has been a passion of mine for as long as I can remember. I can't think of a time in my professional life where I haven't cared about small, women-owned, minority-owned businesses and helping them move forward and create opportunities. First in my career as a financial advisor, and now in my career as a coach, I look for opportunities to uplift leaders, to train them, to develop them, to help them have the skills they need to persevere, to push through, and to keep on moving forward in everything they need to do. I love this opportunity. I love what I do. I love it that I get the chance to work with so many wonderful people. And as you guys are coming into the lounge today, I'd love for you to give us a shout out in your comments. Tell us who you are, where you're coming from. Tell us how you found out about us. If anything, if you want to share anything, today's topic is going to be super special. We're going to be talking today. We're going to be doing sort of a wrap up today, sort of a catch up in terms of where we've been in our series, in terms of moving our audience and our presentations and our ideas and concepts from this thought of mindfulness to high performance. And so we're going to recap what we did in the last several weeks, and then we're going to get ourselves set up for the finishing the last couple of weeks as we get into high performance. So I hope you guys are ready, strapped in, taking lots of notes. There's going to be lots of opportunities for you to share and lots of opportunities for you to show up. Speaking of show up, if you're watching the show for the first time, or if you haven't had a chance to do it already, definitely like us, definitely subscribe for us on our YouTube channel. Definitely share us. Don't keep us a secret. The better you do at helping me get the word out about the products and services that we're offering to small businesses to help them move themselves forward, the better off everybody can be. And so I love what we're doing. I love how many people are showing up. I see you out there in net. I see you. There's so many people are coming in from Facebook, they're coming in from YouTube, they're coming in from LinkedIn. That's a great thing. Do me a favor as you come into the room, as you join the chat, tell us who you are, tell us what your business is. If you can just post a one-liner of how we can contact you or what any websites that you want us to share or show, that would be really wonderful. I'd love to have you do that. And I'm going to turn this music off and see if we can't go ahead and get this party started. All righty. That was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the little music. That's my little New Orleans ambiance music. I'm trying that out, see if any people like it. If you like it, we'll go with it. If you don't like it, then we'll just, we'll change up to something else. I like it because I like to feel like I'm in a coffee shop down on the bayou, dealing with, getting myself some beignets and some coffee and, just kind of enjoying my life, right? Listen to some wonderful New Orleans style jazz. Okay, so first of all, let me start with what's going on. We got a lot of interest in our upcoming conference we have coming up on in later June. We have a Leverage Up conference coming up. And what we're going to be doing at the Leverage Up conference is we're going to be teaching our members and audiences everything they have to learn to truly create and then leverage relationships, professional relationships. And so if you don't have a high quality advisory council for your organization right now, if you don't have a high quality mentoring program, or you don't have a way of creating some continuity when it comes to your business planning and what you're doing, you're going to need to have strong people in your background. You have the strong people in your corner. You have the strong people backing you up, not necessarily financial partners, but definitely people who are committed to helping you achieve everything you need to achieve when it comes to excellence and growing your opportunities and growing your business. So you're not going to want to miss this Leverage Up conference. And if you get a chance, I think I'm going to post it again here. in the chat just in case anybody has a problem getting to it. You can get to that conference. Definitely click on the link. It's only $49 right now. It's gonna go up to probably $150. If you're thinking about becoming a sponsor and you want to have all the thousands of entrepreneurs and business leaders that we'll have on the conference, you want to get in front of them, you want to have them in front of your brand and your image, you definitely want to contact me. My number will be screening across the scroll here in just a second. Look at that. You want to contact me and let me know that you're interested in becoming one of our sponsors. The sponsorships rates are definitely affordable. Because I made sure I do that in a way that is going to be easy for people to have access to, because everything I do, if you know me, is all about promoting others and trying to make sure that everybody gets an opportunity to be and do and have everything they need to have to grow themselves and to grow their businesses, to provide for their families and make sure that they're economically stable in everything they do in their business. So these are very, very important ideas and concepts for me. Also want to let you know that I got a huge, if you're going to be in Northern Virginia area, I got a huge event coming up real soon, literally right after that, the conference in June. We've got an event coming up that I think a lot of you are going to be excited about. This is going to be on the 25th of June. My fraternity brothers have elected me to become the chairman of their business and economic development program. And what we do with that program is to try to support businesses in the small businesses and African American owned businesses in the local area. We pick a restaurant every quarter and we just go out to that restaurant for that evening. Probably anywhere from 5 to 9 o'clock, and we just hang out and have a good time, enjoy ourselves. And we haven't picked the restaurant yet, but here's the date. The date is the 25th of June. So if you're interested in coming out, pay attention to everything I'm doing. Follow me on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, all that kind of good stuff. And we will be telling you about all the new programming we got coming up. We have a lot of opportunities for everybody, so I'm excited about being able to share. Some good news coming up in the Powell household. It's graduation season, and my little young one will be graduating from Howard University. She'll be getting her theater administration degree, and she's already interviewing for teaching positions and teaching drama and performing arts over in Maryland. So that's looking good. She's already accepted an internship this summer out in Disney. So she'll be flying out. We'll be flying her out to Disney shortly after graduation. Next week is graduation, and the week after that, she's out of here. She's gone out to Disney World and gonna enjoy herself and come back a darker version of herself from the summer. So it's going to be a great time. Again, if you are following the show, wherever you're following it for, let us know who you are. Let us know if you have any questions about our topic today or any follow-up questions to what we've been talking about. Over the last few weeks, we've been talking about mindfulness and the trajectory between mindfulness and high performance. And so we've moved from mindfulness, we've gone from that area into gratitude and into satisfaction, and how all those things play together. So if you have any questions that you want to share, or any ideas or concepts that you want to share, feel free to put that information in the chat. I like to give my friends a shout out. This is my girl, Nancy. Thank you so very much for coming through, Nancy. I really appreciate you. And yes, I will definitely give Kayla your love. And thank you very much for being out there, for being the person that you are. I love you dearly. Looking forward to when we can get back together again, face to face, and not have to worry so much about what's going on with this COVID-19 stuff. All righty. As we go on today, I'll be posting information about all of your businesses as you post it in the chat, just to make sure everybody has a good opportunity. If you are coming to us live, do me a favor. Go ahead and like us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. Subscribe to us if you can, so that we can keep this party going. Share this event with as many of your friends as you can, so that they'll know that we're doing this thing for small businesses. And I love to see you do that. I'd be grateful. I'd be highly grateful for that. And after these commercial messages, we're gonna come right back. I could just figure out how to get my thing to go. There we go. Yeah, look at that. That one's a little quieter, a little quicker than my normal one that I like to use. That's kind of clunky and probably loud, but I hope you all enjoyed that. That's we're starting to get that little branding thing. Just sit back and have a cup of coffee with Coach Powell, and we're gonna chat it up and talk about a few things. First things first, let me give a shout out to a lot of my peeps out there. I want to make sure I give you guys some love. My girl Annette Smith is in the audience. Annette is probably going to be one of the newer members to the roundtable. For those of you who don't know, I do a weekly session with my buddy Darren Marquardt every week, and we help entrepreneurs and business leaders learn how to create and leverage relationships. So more of what I'm going to be doing in the Leverage Up Conference. When we do in Compact and Leverage Up Conference, we kind of do spread out throughout the year in our in the roundtable meetings. So it's a great opportunity for people to come and learn how to network, not just go network, but come and learn how to network appropriately. Because the last thing you want to do when you're networking is, make the wrong kind of big splash. Right? You want to make a big splash, but you want to make the right kind of big splash when you're out there and about. You have to know how to introduce yourself effectively. You have to know how to pay attention to others and key in on what they're saying and find opportunities and ways where you can collaborate and share resources and time and talent and treasure and all that kind of good stuff. And it really works out really well. But the process and the methodology we use at the roundtable is top notch. I haven't seen any better. And I'm glad that we're able to participate and bring that to the table for everyone. My girl Nancy, my persuasive presentations, is just one of the best coaches out there. She can help you with your writing. She can help you with just anything you want when it comes to creating a great presentation for your organization, especially like the slide decks and stuff like that you want to put together in between the shows and all kinds of stuff. She's amazingly gifted at that, and she's done some wonderful work in that regard. And my boy Adolphus, it's good to see you out there. Adolphus is one of my newer clients, as a matter of fact. And Adolphus is a wonderful commercial realtor. He does great work here in the Northern Virginia area. If you ever need to think about what you're doing when it comes to that, you want to hit my boy Adolphus up for sure. Adolphus, why don't you put your contact information in so people know how to get in contact with you? And I'll make sure you post it again and share it because people could see this on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere, and they'll be able to go back to the chat as long as this thing is going on. So we want to make sure we give everybody as much publicity as we possibly can. Again, if you have any questions about the content that we're sharing, feel free to throw them in the chat. After I finish talking, I will come back to the chat and pull any questions that you may have or anything you want to add into the conversation. All right, so let's make sure we do that. Here we go. Today's topic. Today we are talking, we're basically doing a wrap up in terms of what we've shared over the last several weeks so that you can understand and get us up, build a platform for what we're going to be talking about moving forward. We have basically started the study and started the research on everything we need to do to understand how high performance is developed. And it is developed through three key areas. And if you look back on all the things you might consider high performance, people who are high performers and are consistent in that, they literally have a level of satisfaction. They have a level of joy, a level of happiness that they are expressing in what they do whenever they do what they do. They love it, they enjoy it, they're passionate about it, and they get to perform. They love that they get to perform. Now, they're satisfied. I mean, it's a level of happiness that comes in with that, right? But before you can be happy, you have to be grateful for the things that you know you can offer, the things you know that you can experience, the things that you know that are happening for you. And you have to know how to really tap into that gratitude to help you create that satisfaction. But before you can tap into gratitude, you got to be really you have to understand what and be aware of everything that's going on around you. And you have to be mindful of the good and the bad things. And you have to be very good at choosing those good things. Oftentimes, when we're not being mindful, we forget because we let the trauma and the tragedy of our lives overtake us. And, if 90% of your thoughts are coming from a negative point of view or from a negative perspective, either innately or without you, then there's something's wrong. And that's not a good thing. What you want to do is you want to follow the 90-10 rule. You want 90% of your thoughts and ideas and concepts to come from you, and you want 10% to come from others, but you want them all to be 100% as positive as possible. And so that's very, very important. And that's how you, when you get to mindfulness, you'll learn how to do that. So we're going to start that. We just did a little backwards planning, right? So how do you get to high performance? You get there through mindfulness, then through gratitude, and then through satisfaction. And then you get to high performance. But you got to have that baseline. And that's what we're going to cover today. We're going to wrap up everything we've been talking about over the last few weeks and figure out, how do we establish a base of opportunity for ourselves so that we can get to high performance. Now, you've got to cover all these bases. Like, think about it like home run, right? Mindfulness is first base, gratitude is second base, satisfaction is third base, and guess what? High performance is at home run. If you think about yourself running around those bases, then you're going to see that it's critically important. And I'm going to start you off today. I'm going to start our discussion off today with a quote. And this is a quote that I put together based on this whole trajectory mindset that I developed. Mindfulness is a precursor to gratitude, which can then help us understand how to deliver satisfaction and then higher levels of performance. It's just that simple. And anything that interrupts the flow of the mindfulness performance trajectory becomes much easier to identify and then remedy. If you're not in kind communication, with yourself and with the world around you, such that you understand where things are going, how things should work, what you're doing, how you fit into it all, then you cannot relatively predict how you're going to move from point A to point B. And it's going to be very difficult for you to be in control. So let's get into it. Let's get into mindfulness. First of all, Oscar Wilde says that mindfulness, when he thinks about mindfulness, what he has to say is, to live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people exist, and that is all. There's some truth in that statement when you think about it. Most of us are just running around, doing whatever, running amok, sort of just like our world is taken over and we're not consciously aware of everything that's going on around us. We're not consciously aware of things. So things actually shock us all the time. And in fact, because we're not aware of what's going on around us, we're kind of like always being prepared for the negative thing to happen, always getting prepared for the wrong situation, always mentally stressed out and worried about what the possible potential could be if there's fear, if there's negativity, if there's failure. All these things are just kind of looming out in our world, and we're not really paying attention to all that we can pay attention to and all that we should pay attention to in order for us to really experience all that life has to give us. Because life is working on us and we're not working on our lives. So mindfulness, by definition, is this basic human ability to be fully present and aware of where we are and what we're doing. It's not to be overly reactive or overwhelmed about what's going on around us. So you got to be present, you got to be aware, you got to know what's going on, but you can't be overly reactive to it. You can't allow yourself to get overwhelmed by it all. This is incredibly, incredibly important. If you're to become what we call a good mindfulness practitioner, like a lot of yoga masters or what we call gurus, right? These people who they sit down on a regular, consistent basis and they practice mindfulness through meditation, right? You get there through the breathing and through the controlled exercises of your thought processes and the relaxation of your body and your ability to ground yourself. I always think of mindfulness as the ground floor. This is you figuring out how to ground yourself into the truth, the reality that is real and that you're experiencing right now. Instead of ignoring situations that you shouldn't ignore, you recognize and understand them and you put them in their proper perspective so you can deal with them. Whatever is negative, you deal with it. Whatever is positive, you deal with it. But you recognize it all, you take it all in. Now, how do you do that? With people, it's easy. Feedback is a mechanism by which you can take everything in. When you start to develop strategies and techniques to get constant feedback from the world around you, from the people around you, from the experiences that you have, you're paying attention, you're dialed in all the way to all that situation. You know how you're being perceived and you know how you're perceiving others, and you are in control of that perception, right? So mindfulness is about control. Other thing I want you to think about, if you have an understanding of what your higher calling is, and you are mindful of the tasks and the things that you should be doing to align yourself with that higher calling on a regular, consistent basis. If you're mindful, you know when you're off path immediately. You know when you're off track immediately. And it helps you to, as you're being mindful, it helps you to get yourself back on the path that you need to get to in order to move things forward, to do the things you want to do in your life and in your business. The last thing I want to share with you as you become understanding of mindfulness, right? There's a term that I love called conscious reciprocity. When you understand what's going on around you, who you are, what you stand for, what it means to be you, what it means to be you doing the things that you do, then you can do things that are going to get you the returns that you need to get. You can make the contributions. You can make the investment of time, talent, and treasure into the universe where you can get back what you need to get back in order for you to grow. It's when you're not mindful, when you're unconscious, that the law of reciprocity doesn't work as well. You can't really identify what inputs created, what outputs. You can't really identify what you've done to create the opportunities that are happening around you, whether those bad opportunities are good or bad. You don't really have a measure or a way to understand that. But the more you practice mindfulness, the more you practice awareness, the more you start to really sit down and think about how you can keep your cool, how you can keep from losing control, right? You will start to find that you will begin to identify the inputs and the outputs of everything that you do in every role that you play, in every situation that you're in. As a father, a husband, a wife, an entrepreneur, a business leader, a sales representative, whatever it is that you're doing, you will find a way, if you're consciously aware, if you're taking the time to reflect, on a regular, consistent basis. Try meditating, 10 minutes a day, then 15 minutes a day, then 20 minutes, and then 30 minutes a day. And the more you begin to become consciously aware of what's going on around you. I like to take meditation breaks throughout the day. Every hour or so, I'm going to take a 5-minute to 10-minute meditation break. And I'm just going to ground myself. I'm just going to breathe deeply. I'm just going to, just focusing on my surroundings and what's going on with me, focusing on my breath. And from there, once I get control of my emotions and my feelings, I can begin to tap into and be reflective of what has just happened for me. What did I just learn? What did I just do that I thought was amazing? What did I just experience that was wonderful? And I try to hold on to those experiences as best I possibly can, emotionally and mentally, replay them in my mind, because I need to have something to go back to when things don't go the way that I want them to go, or I don't understand something the way I want to understand it, and I feel like I'm either overwhelmed or maybe I'm in an imposter syndrome situation. I can always go back to those memories and those thoughts that I have created through my mindfulness practice that allow me to get that bridge back to happiness, to joy, to faith and fulfillment and all the wonderful things that come along. There are 7 rules to mindfulness. I'm not going to read them all to you for the sake of time, but I want you to understand that one of the basic tenets of mindfulness is understanding that you cannot just jump into mindfulness. You need to learn how to proceed with caution. You need to proceed with caution and discipline and regularity into whatever your mindfulness practice becomes. And there are several different ways you can do this. Whatever you do, right, you have to have reflection in that process. You have to have control in that process, and you have to, have a deep resolve to identify all the wonderful things that are going on for you and around you, as well as maybe the tragedies and the things that you're experiencing, right? But you got to let it all in, and that means you got to be very careful, because it's going to allow you to also be vulnerable, and you have to make sure that as you're thinking the thoughts that you're thinking and you're experiencing the feeling that you're feeling, that you're acknowledging them, but you're not allowing yourself to be overwhelmed by them. Bruce asked the question, will this be downloaded? If you're assuming that it will be re-recorded and you can go back and catch it, and I will have a document that I'm going to share with you all in the chat that you'll be able to download itself that will reflect about a lot of the topics that I'm talking from, sort of my talking points for the wrap up. So I thank you for that, Bruce. And if you want to, definitely go ahead and put your contact information in the chat as well, so that we could figure out, how how to get in contact with you. If there's something that you want to advertise or market or share with us, please do so. I just got a note from LinkedIn from Bruce. So I thank you for sharing that, Bruce. I know that, sometimes the chat we have, you can't see it on the LinkedIn side, but you can see it on Facebook and on YouTube. And yes, you can go back and watch all the reruns and all that kind of stuff at a later date. So don't worry about it. It's all going to be captured for you, buddy. Okay, so back to mindfulness. So you got to proceed with caution because it's very, very important that you do this right. All right, and go all in. Once you understand and once you feel comfortable, in sinking yourself into your mindfulness practice, go all in. Don't hold anything back because you're going to get that, but you got to get that comfort through the regularity and through the process. And again, start with 5 minutes and then 10 minutes and then 15 minutes and then break it up your different periods throughout the day. And as you start to become, more and more and more good at grounding yourself and bringing yourself out of stress and back into peace and harmony, you'll become that all day long, every day. 3 important mindfulness mindsets that I want you to understand. And some of this comes from the Bible, some of it comes from the Torah, some of it comes from the great books and great philosophies that we've all studied in human history, all throughout human history, right? 3 particular mindful mindsets. The first mindset is that you need to understand that we're all born with the spirit of power, love, and self-control. We all have the ability. We all have the power. We all have the spirit of power, love, and self-control. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2, when it comes to your mindfulness mindset, we all have the ability to be protected and enjoy the abundance of both peace and satisfaction. All that's within our ability. All that's within our possibility, and all that's within our ability, right? And last mindfulness mindset that you need to have if you're really going to embrace all this stuff is that we have the ability to get to and communicate and create all the right tools. They're right. All of them are available for us to do whatever we need to do. And so it's just a function of time, resources, people, and the more we use, the better we become at attracting the right tools, the right people, the right time, the right efforts, then the more we're going to be able to accomplish. These are all keys to understanding mindfulness and how mindfulness works. But guess what? The biggest thing that mindfulness does for us is it allows us to know what to be grateful for, because we're seeing and accepting everything that's coming in to our mindset and to our world. We can now separate the things that we need to make choices around, right? So there might be some bad news coming in that we have to pay attention to. We can pay attention to that, and then we can deal with it and handle it. Either we can choose to dismiss it. It's not a big deal. The world's not gonna come on fire if we have a little bit of sadness here and there, or so we can do that and handle it. But we can also look at the good things that are going on, the good things that are happening, the growth that we've experienced, that we're experiencing, that we're seeing. Smell the roses, understand all the kind of good stuff to be grateful for, and start to focus on those things. A great quote from Roy Bennett just allows me to understand, and hopefully you understand all the several powers that we have when we think about it. And the quote says, be mindful, be grateful, be positive, be true, be kind. What more is there to say? I love that thought process. These are the things this is states of being that you could be, right? You could be mindful, you could be grateful, you could be positive, you could be true, you could be kind. Now, you probably can't do all of these things at the same time. Sometimes that's happening. That's a great day or a great moment, right? But just think about it. No matter what's going on with you, you can choose probably one that can anchor you and bring you back from the pit of the opposites, right? Because the opposites are to be oblivious, to be thankless, to be negative, to be fake, or to be cruel. And these things you don't have to be, right? You don't have to be. You don't have to not know what's going on. You could figure it out. You could Google it. Ask a person that you think is knowledgeable about something. Read about it. Learn. Research. You don't have to be thankless. You could choose to be grateful. You could choose to find the right moments that you need to share. You don't have to be negative. You could choose to, instead of a negative reaction to something, you could choose to react to it positively and go, how can I now respond to this negative thing that's happening in a way that's going to move me forward or somebody that I love? That's a choice. You can choose not to be fake. You could choose to say, you know what, authentically, genuinely, how do I feel about this? What does this mean to me? What is important to me? And I'm going to represent the truth, not the fake. Right? And you can choose not to be cruel. You can say, you know what, I want to be kind in this moment and in every moment. And if you can make that conscious choice, think about that. Your ability to make those conscious choices and to be grateful for who you are, what you're all about all the time. It's possible. I'm not saying it's not hard, but I am saying it's possible. And because it's possible, that means there is a trajectory or if you gave yourself a level, right? So how often on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being I suck at this, 5 being I great at this, how often are you at a level 5 on all those 5 different areas? And what do you need to do to get yourself from a 3 to a 5? And if you start thinking about that, you are being mindful, right? And you're learning how to embrace gratitude. You're learning how to embrace positivity. You're learning how to move yourself forward in a positive and creative way. There's 5 rules of gratitude. And I'm going to share them all with you because I think we got time to get a little deeper into this one. It took me 3 sessions to get just through gratitude alone, and you're going to figure out why in just a second. When you think about gratitude, right, you want to be proactively grateful, which means you want to have a resume of dialed in things that you already know bring you joy. Something that you can just fall back on anytime you want to. And it's not going to cost you anything, a great amount of time or great amount of effort, great amount of money. You're just going to be able to have a memory or go back to the memory or even go back to an experience that you can duplicate, like walk around the block or walk through the woods or, a nice jog or, just go walk the dog. Those that kind of rhymed. I don't know how that worked out, but I'm glad it did. Okay, so be proactive. You need to find the grace in every moment proactively. So if you know that there's something that there's a scene that you enjoy, take a picture of it and post it right in front of you every day so you can enjoy it every day. If there's something that you found that, just is pretty and you look and you like it, you guess what? There's this thing in Bull Run Park called the bluebells, right? And they emit this nice little scent, but they're just a pretty little flower that hangs down like a bell, and it's a purple flower. And they're just so beautiful. They grow in a field. They go in a field or right next to the creek, and they're really nice. You have a nice kind of walk into it so you can experience the bluebells, right? You go in and you can have that wonderful experience. But guess what? If you can't walk, or if it's wintertime or something's going on, take the picture, post it on your internet, post it somewhere where your graphics for your computer. So when your computer is sleeping or whatever that is, pops the picture. You can do so many things with just the visualization to remind you of the moment that you were there, remind you of the time that, you experienced, and you can just bring that experience right back into your life by having it show up right in front of you. Be proactively grateful. Number 2, honor and celebrate meaningful contribution. You got to honor contribution. Whenever somebody's made a contribution, whatever that contribution is, be good at acknowledging it and telling them how wonderful it was or what it meant to you. If it was meaningful, it was passionate, if it was powerful, then accept it and share it and make sure the people that participated in it know about how wonderful this was and this experience was to you. There's no such thing as too much gratitude. Honor the contributions that other people make. If people have done something that have elevated you or have promoted you, have created a moment for you that you cannot do or repeat again, definitely go back and honor that contribution. Make sure that you help them feel good about what they need to do, because very rarely do we get to smell the flowers that that we need to receive in our lives. Usually it's too late. People want to tell us how wonderful we were, how special we were, and how much we meant to them, and what that thing we did specifically that worked for them. Go ahead and take that time and honor the contributions as soon as you possibly can. Don't wait for the big party or the big reveal or whatever that is. Go ahead and do it right now, so that people know, that whatever they did or whatever they said or whatever they participated in or however they engaged with you was meaningful to you. Another thing about gratitude is beautiful because it gives you a chance to aim for perfection, right? Perfection is not something that you can achieve, but it is something that you can aim for. And imagine if you had a whole group of people all aiming for a similar perfection. That's where vision comes in. It allows you to move in the right direction that is in the right direction. So you can be mindful of it, and you can use it, gratitude, to come together and say, okay, it's going to be so delightful for us to move in this direction together. And we'll know that we'll be giving our best, and we know that we'll be doing the best we possibly can to move and grow and share. All of a sudden now, we're moving into perfection. We're following perfection. Next, when it comes to mindfulness, you want to practice positive meditation for gratefulness. When you're meditating about something, sometimes it's good to meditate on something that you're already grateful for, that you already know that it's going to be there for you, that you already know that you can depend on, you can rely on, you can trust it. Then meditate on that thing, that person, that idea, that concept. If it's a vision that you have for your future that you love and enjoy, then meditate on that. Spend some time just embracing the future you. I always lead people through an exercise called Be, Do, Have, and I help them imagine the most excellent future they can possibly imagine for themselves, whatever it is. And I say, okay, now what are you going to be able to be, do, and have in that moment? And let's talk about that. And I make them write it down, and I want you to go back and I want you to think about it. I'm going to be this kind of person. I'm going to do these kinds of things. I'm going to have this kind of reality that I'm going to be experiencing around me. These are things that if you concentrate on those things, they'll bring you joy. They'll bring you happiness. They'll bring you out of the doldrums of whatever you're in. You get excited. You get your temperature goes up. Everything starts to happen for you. You start to move in the right direction. You've got to practice this positive meditation. The last rule of gratitude, and it's my favorite. If you choose to have peace in your thoughts and your actions, right, then the things you do, the choices you make based on the emotions and the feelings that you're calling up on purpose are going to be righteous. You're going to activate goodness in your life and in your world and the world around you, because all you're going to be delivering is goodness. And so when you deliver goodness, what comes back to you is more goodness. I got an idea for you that I'm going to share with you in just a little while when I come to that. There are 11 observations of gratitude, but I'm only going to talk to you about 3. When you figure this gratitude thing out, then you can manifest more in your life. I know that word manifestation might take people there because, it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But in general, when you think about it, it's really about bringing forward and bringing out a reality that you want to bring out. So it's about, calling up a truth, a possibility, an opportunity for yourself. You can manifest anything you want to manifest when you get this mindfulness and gratitude connection done really, really well. You'll learn how to accept the things that you have to accept. And then you'll learn how to use the principles and the rules around those ideas that are going to make a meaningful contribution to the world. And you'll be a much better person for it. You'll be able to do it all with grace and honor, and most importantly, dignity. So these are the things that you can do when you start to really make the mindfulness gratitude connection. And then there's a term that I want to share with you that I discovered recently. And you imagine it's like, what happens when you combine gratitude and mindfulness? I told you it's going to be ground level stuff, right? So what do you think happens when you combine gratitude and mindfulness? Where what you get when you combine gratitude and mindfulness is grindfulness. When you're in the grind, right? It's very, very important. This is how you don't want to be lost in the grind. You want to be found in the grind, and this is how that happens, right? When you combine gratitude and mindfulness, what you have is the ability to be fully present, aware of where you are and what you're doing, and with the grace and acceptance that allows you to manifest more of everything. It's that dope state of achieving by focusing on your awareness on the task at hand, while never letting the stress of the grind slow you down, or it's being aware of your emotions and feelings, thoughts, and the tingles and pains, all while fully aware of the task at hand and working as effectively as possible. So it doesn't leave anything on the table. A lot of people saying, I'm in the grind and I'm suffering. I'm in the grind and it's painful. I'm in the grind, and that's all they can think about is the negative part to that. But if you're truly grindful, right, it's not just the negative, right? You got to bring that positive in there. You'll be in control by accepting the realities that you're experiencing at the time that you're experiencing them, and learning how to deal with them, how to face it, right? You cannot deal with negativity by ignoring it, because it's just going to get bigger. You're not going to really be able to actively ignore it, especially if it's plaguing your world. You're going to have to stand and deliver. You're going to have to face it. Right. I got some other friends that are joining the call today, and I'm good to see my brother Bruce McMillan is out there, Dr. Carlos Capel is out there. Listen, guys, if you have anything that you want to share, if you have any share about your business, you want to share your contact information with anybody, feel free to put that information in the chat, and we will get there. I'm gonna read a couple comments real quick before we move on to the last segment of the topic today. Dr. Cable says, be or not to be, that is the question. Yeah, that is the question. There is nothing that I cannot be, do, or have. And that is true. I love that statement. He posted a picture there. This is one of my favorite books, right? This is, in fact, I got it right here right here in front of me. This is Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun? I love this book, by the way. And I love this brother. He's a great gentleman, and I went to Virginia State University, and he was one of the first Black billionaires, if not the first Black billionaire, period. I got a great deal with Beatrice. So thanks for sharing that, Carlos, and reminding me about that wonderful book. And this is very, very important, this stuff we're talking about now. We've already covered mindfulness, we've covered gratitude, and we've covered how gratitude and mindfulness come together to create grindfulness and what that means. Now we get to get into the favorite part of the whole mindfulness, gratitude, satisfaction trajectory, and it is satisfaction. Satisfaction ultimately is the key. It is the doorway to happiness. It is the doorway to high performance. It's the doorway to the kind of enduring success that will drive you forward and your team forward forever, right? And I'll tell you why. But first, let me get into what Noel Langley says about it. Noel Langley, for those of you who don't know him, is the author of The Wizard of Oz. And what he says, if I ever go looking for my heart's desire again, I won't look any further than my own backyard. Because if it isn't there, I never really lost it to begin with. How many times do we go looking for satisfaction somewhere other than ourselves? How many times have we sat down and thought about what we want to do? We looked over and saw that somebody else had this or somebody else did this. And instead of being inspired by that, we got jealous or vindictive or in some other ugly way hateful about that person and why that person gets to do this thing and we don't get to do this thing, or don't get to experience this experience, or we don't get to experience. What did they do? Did they have a deal with the devil? We start asking all kinds of crazy questions, and that's natural for us to compare ourselves to others. So I don't want you to get twisted about that, but I do want you to understand that there's no satisfaction in measuring yourself and your success against others, because what others have is for them to have. What they do is for them to do. And if they're doing it and they're experiencing, wonderful opportunities and blessings and so on and so forth, then the best thing you could possibly do is to appreciate their trajectory, their path. Don't try to be them, but learn from them. And not just what they did, but learn who they are. Learn about their character. Learn about what about their character allowed them to face the demons that they had to face and walk through the fire they had to walk through and overcome the challenges that they had to overcome. What about their character allowed them to keep going and be resilient and do more? I promise you, it had more to do with satisfaction than it had anything to do with strategy or technique. All right, when it's all said and done. And so people can't explain. If you start looking at, highly successful people and you start asking them, questions about how they did it, they start telling you stuff that, the pat stuff, like you got to stay focused, you got to stay in the game, you can't quit, you got to keep pushing, And all that's true. But what allowed them to do that? What allowed them to do that is the character, is the belief in themselves, is the understanding of what they needed to do to keep themselves moving forward and doing it and be happy doing it, by the way. So here's what satisfaction is. By definition, satisfaction is the pleasurable fulfillment of our wishes, expectations, and needs. It is the pleasurable fulfillment of our wishes, expectations, and needs. And there are 5 clear benefits to satisfaction. When you achieve satisfaction, you're going to have increased strength, more resilience, and better flexibility. When you achieve satisfaction, you're going to have your heart's desire and you'll be fulfilled. And you'll begin to experience what we call abundance. When you get there to satisfaction, you'll be fulfilled with spiritual wellness and benevolence. You'll also be renewed and re-energized as if you were young again. And the last thing you're going to experience, the 5th benefit of satisfaction, is acceptance, love, and respect in such a way that allows you to deliver hope to others. Now, what more could you want? Right? To be completely, totally satisfied. These benefits are clear and they're wonderful. They're reason enough to push for satisfaction. So here's what I call the 4 P's to satisfaction. These are the rules to satisfaction. 1, faith is the key that allow you to be fulfilled. That means it's a preference. 2, we should be appropriately joyful. That means it's a pursuit. 3, we have the ability and therefore the obligation to choose happiness. That means it's a promise. And 4th, contentment is all about reimagining possibility, which means it's a possibility. So satisfaction is a preference, it's a pursuit, it's a promise, and it's a possibility. If you work towards those 4 keys and those 4 things, I promise you, you're going to have abundantly more satisfaction than you can have if you don't. Embrace your ability to choose. Embrace your ability to pursue it. Embrace your ability to honor the promises and the commitments that the universe offers you. And understand it's all possible for you. You can achieve satisfaction. You can achieve happiness. You can achieve joy, bliss, all those wonderful things. There's 3 key essential internal ingredients of satisfaction, and they are faith, choice, and acceptance. If you can work with those 3 things, if you can work with faith, if you can work with choice, and you can work with acceptance, then you can be happy. You can be satisfied. But if any one of those things are broken, you're going to miss out on satisfaction. You're going to miss it. You might get there temporarily. Something happens and you achieve something and it feels good. But you can't stay there because you didn't have all 3 of that combination. You didn't understand that you chose this and it worked out for you. This was chosen for you and it worked out for you. You didn't understand that you accepted a lot of things you had to accept, good and bad, along the way in order to get you here. You didn't run away from stuff. You didn't hide from the challenge. You accepted it. You embraced it, right? And you had the faith that you could make it happen, that it could work for you, that it would work for you. If you don't have faith, choice, and acceptance, you'll never be satisfied. That's all I have to say about that. I'm pitching my tent and I'm running home. Did anybody have any questions or any thoughts they want to throw in here that I think that could be useful? because next week we're going to be taking the deep dive and start to break down and break through what high performance looks like. But if you can't get the things we just shared with you, that don't resonate with you, doesn't work for you, you're not going to get to high performance. You might get to productivity, but you won't get to high performance. You won't get to that bliss, that joy, that happiness of doing the thing that you do with a level of excitement, with a level of bliss. And that's what I wish for all of you. I wish you all to have that joy, that excitement, that happiness that comes along with doing the thing that you love and doing it at a high level, doing it so great so that you can't even believe you get to do it, and you're doing it the way you're doing it. That's how you know that you are performing at a high level, not because somebody else said it. It's because you know the discipline that you took, the road that you took, what it's going to take. But I get more into that high performance stuff next week. Let's talk about meditation. Let's talk about I got to get my own thing together here. Let's talk about mindfulness, gratitude, and satisfaction. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about any of the things that we've shared? Feel free to post it in chat. Feel free to share your thoughts. I hope that you have it as much fun as I'm having, because I know I'm having a ton of fun. And it's a great opportunity for us to share and think about our thoughts, think about how things are going for ourselves and with everybody else. Let me see if I can't post this document. I may have to post this document in the chat later on, because LinkedIn doesn't allow me to post things to LinkedIn. You can post things from LinkedIn. I can see it on my side, but I can't post two things to LinkedIn. So I'm gonna have to post this stuff in the chat later on so you can see the document that I was working from. But again, I want to share the upcoming Leverage Up conference. It's going to be super fun, and that's going to be a virtual conference, so people will be able to dial in and log in from all over the world. If you think you want to sponsor it, you want to get in front of all the entrepreneurs who are going to be coming, and you want to be one of our key sponsors, definitely hit me up. My number is scrolling across the screen, and we could talk about how you can get a piece of the action and have lots of fun with us. This is going to be something that I do every quarter, and so it'll be a lot of fun to participate in and to join. And other than that, we're going to call this party to a close. Let me see. All righty, Nancy says, inspirational class, happy weekend, hope to see you soon. Scott and I have a suggestion about location when you're ready. I love it. Thank you so very much, Nancy. Good to see you guys, good to see everybody, and there are no questions, so I'm going to get this party going. Adolphus, salute you, brother. It's good to see you, good to have you on board today, and we're gonna close up shop. So I'm just under an hour, which gives me opportunities to rebroadcast this whole program. Love you guys. Thanks for coming out. It was a great time.